In this video I'm going to show you how I made this animation of Toilet Boy. Welcome to Stayf Draws. I'm Stayf, a Dutch illustrator and animator. I hope you're doing fine during this coronavirus. I made this little animation of Toilet Boy and I'm just going to go over it step by step. I made everything in Procreate and I used some different techniques. So here's the animation I did for Toilet Boy, and I really started out simple by drawing the basic shapes of Toilet Boy. And 2D animation is a great way to check out your basic drawing skills, because this has an ellipse and an ellipse that's moving around. So I made a cycle first with the toilet roll, and to get it jumping up and down, and later on I added the eyes, the arms and also the legs of Toilet Boy. But first I needed to lock down this animation just of the toilet roll, and you can play around with squash and stretch, and also see the top of the toilet roll and also the bottom of the toilet roll, and this makes the animation a little bit more dynamic. So I used Procreate and the animation assist to make this drawing or this animation, and here I'm first going to draw the guidelines of where the eyes will go of Toilet Boy. So this is the first frame, and when his head goes up, also the guideline for his eyes will go up. So I first needed to lock down the first drawing, and also to figure out where the eyebrows would go, and also the eyes and his little mouth. And I also did the eyes in a separate layer, and I made groups out of each layer, because when you select a group, within the group, the group will be treated as a keyframe. So if you have a group in an animation of Procreate, then the entire group will count as a keyframe. And in this way, you can separate certain pieces of your artwork into groups. So on top of the animation of the moving toilet roll, I just draw the eyes, and you always need to check out if you're on the right layer. Now the eyes are a little bit more in the middle, so I changed the guideline of the eyes. And I've also selected the onion skinning, so everything that's before will be in red and everything that's after is in green. So you can always check what the former keyframe looks like and the keyframe that comes after. And now he's going down with his face, so also the guideline of his eyes will go down. And the great way of this animation assist is that you can check your animation if it flows naturally, and then you can make some changes. Now the eyes, or the guideline of the eyes, will go really down because you're now looking on the top of the toilet roll. So his face is going down, so also the eyes will go down. And I wanted to make it a little bit more dynamic, so I didn't want to draw the eyes all in 3/4, but now it's moving a little bit more toward the camera. And the animation is on 24 frames per second. Because it is a run, you know, you can get away with 24 frames. Otherwise you have to animate. If it's a walk, you can animate it on 2s, and the hold feature is great for that. So you can, you know, make an animation in 24 frames per second, and then if you make a drawing, you can hold it for one more frame. Now continue, you know, making first the animation of the head, of the eyes and eyebrows and mouth, going back and forth. And then after that I will animate the legs and also the arms. So now I have finished the animation of the head, and now I'm going to add frames within a group on top of it, and I'm going to animate the cycle of the feet. And this is drawn at 1920 by 1080 pixels. And I also have the drawing guide set to a normal grid, so you can, you know, see where the animation is going. So I just don't have it turned on, so I have no drawing assist, but you know, it's just a great guide, you know, to see where the feed will go when you're doing the running cycle. And for this animation I just want to, you know, keep it a little bit more in the 30s. So it's a bit of a rubber hose animation. He also has shoes like Mickey Mouse. And this is the first frame of the animation. The great thing about animating in Procreate is that you can also change things. You can use the select tool to, you know, to move things around, so you don't have to draw everything over and over again. Because this shoe was a little bit too small, so I make it a little bit bigger with the transform tool. Then I can add a little bit more of the rubber hose leg. And this is a contact, so his right feet will hit the ground. And this is still the sketch phase, so you can, just keep sketching, because after this I'm going to do, well, first the arms, and then I will do a cleanup of the entire animation. So I continue making all the frames for the leg cycle, and this is what it looks like. And now I can move on to animating the arms of Toilet Boy. So for the arms, I'm also making new frames within the groups, so that I can keep them separate and change things if I want to. Because when you do it on the same layer, then if you want to erase something, you have to redraw the entire drawing. And for the animation, I'm also using the typical cartoon hands. And Toilet Boy is running away, so I want the hands, to be a little bit more shaky and that he is scared. So you can try out different things, because everything is separate in different layers within a group. You can easily change your animation and move around hands, or use a selection tool and the transform tool to move things around. And I also make duplicates of the entire file, so if I need to go back, I can also do it in the other versions of the animation. So I continue to draw the hand cycle, and when I finished with the hands, I'm gonna select new layers within the group, because I also want to animate some of the paper that is following along of the toilet boy. And I do that animation on a separate layer as well, so to have more control. So if you later want to change it, you can do it within that layer. Because I saved the sketch version, and now flattening down all of the layers so I can do the cleanup. And I'm using my own Stayf ink brush. It's still available on Gumroad. I'll leave a link in the description box down below. I ink all of my comics and illustrations with this brush. And I've now set the streamline to 100%. So, because the toilet roll, it's just big shapes. And I want to ink with thick and thin lines. And with inking, you can also first ink the entire shape, especially with circles, and then with the hands you can later erase it. Because when you ink within an animation, and the lines will jump around if you don't get it correct. This is a very fast animation, so you won't notice, but you know, when you're doing an animation which is a little bit more of a slow motion move, then all the lines will start to jitter. So then you have to be very precise in the inking. So now I've finished the inking process, and now I can color all the different or the individual frames. And I'm going to use the reference layer for that, so the ink lines and the colors are on separate layers. But when you do that, you can only use one reference layer in a Procreate file. So don't make the mistake of using a reference layer on a certain layer or ink layer and then coloring something in a different group, because it then will still revert to the reference layer you were using. So I colored each frame, and I wanted to add some texture to Toilet Boy. So I took a picture of some toilet paper and imported it into Procreate, and I'm just gonna mask that layer of the toilet paper and put it on top of the colored layer and set it to multiply, so then it would blend a little bit more with the colored layer underneath. So for moving around the texture, because you know the toilet roll is, you know, squashing and stretching, so I'm using the liquefy tool, you know, to push the paper around so it stays within the animation. And it follows the, you know, the flow of the animation. Just using a very big brush in the liquefy tool, and I'm just using the push. So I do this for each frame. And then I will make a mask of all of the frames of the paper and mask it out. I'm only selecting the face of Toilet Boy, and also the paper that's flapping around his back. And this is how I made the animation of Toilet Boy. If you want me to do more videos like this about animation in Procreate, please let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell, because each time I upload a new video, you get a notification. Drawing is fun, and practice makes perfect. See you next time. Doodles!